Greetings, people. It's Mr. Paul the Trigger yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. We are back from where we left. How far now? Okay, so Ruth was in court yesterday. It did go well. And like I told you, like I promised you before, victories for us. It can take 10 years, 5 years, 15, 30, 50 years. But as long as baby testimony is still missing, victory will be retained to the righteous, and the wicked will pay the price, will suffer the consequences, will have to deal with the repercussions of their evil deeds. But before we get into the issue of the court case and what was the outcome, of course, indeed, it was adjourned for next month around the 20th, if not earlier. But I'll update you with final details about when the next court appearance will be. But before we get into that, I came across a post from one of our brothers who has also been standing and fighting hard for baby testimony, who's called Dada. Most of you have been engaging on his platform. And on his wall, it read, it just caught my attention. And there's a point I want to make out of this, which is going to be exclusive and also, address certain aspects that we have to look into, we have to look at when we are talking about this case of the baby testimony. Because this has not happened for the first time. This is probably the 6th or 7th time that we have experienced a reaction of this nature from all the people that have stood and fought for justice for baby testimony. So on his recent post, it read, someone sent me this screenshot. He was addressing his followers and his audience and alerting them and letting them know about his decision towards this case of baby testimony and the future of it. So it reads, I want to use this medium to appreciate everybody that joined me to analyze on this Prophet Jeremiah and Ruth Mathew issue on my platform. I appreciate you all. Thank you guys so much. I want to use this medium to also announce to everybody that I'll no longer be talking about this issue again. I am done. Thank you all so much for your understanding. Much love. No, I really appreciate the communication. And to be quite sincere with this brother called Dada, there's one thing that we cannot dispute or we cannot argue, even if most of you disagree with this approach to analyzing some of the content, some of the videos that I do, or with the findings that we do. This brother has been constant, and this brother really has pure intentions. He has really fought hard, to bring to light in the proceedings and keep on, raising awareness about this missing baby. If we have to question his integrity when it comes to justice for testimony, I would side with him. He's 100% in it for baby testimony. He does not care about who's involved. He does not care about any other thing, but he's 100% in it for justice for testimony. What he might not like to hear, or the reason why he might be dropping out now, is because he might have realized that, or what he does not want to listen to, or what he does not want to realize, is the involvement of Jeremiah Omoto for fame. In as much as he wants justice for baby testimony, he does not want Omoto for fame to be the one responsible. That's why he's kind of dropping out at this stage, because he's realizing that where we are going and with all the proof and evidence that has been presented thus far, it's all pointing at Jeremiah Omoto for fame to be involved in this syndicate of the abducted child of baby testimony. And he wouldn't want his platform to be the one that will also give access or open the doors to people that will bring critical analysis, those analyses that will point at Jeremiah Omoto's involvement in the case of the missing child. No, we understand, brother, for stepping down, but we also demand to know from your end, what is your reason for stepping down? Because you have also questioned me so many times, and I've always responded to some of the questions that you will be making, questioning me to provide or to clarify or to explain. So in this case, since you have been one of the, the voices behind advocating for justice for baby testimony, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. What is the reason for you stepping down at this juncture? And it is at this point that we are getting very close to know all the parties that are involved in the abduction of baby testimony. What is your reason and what is your justification for stepping down? We're not holding you accountable. You don't owe anyone an explanation, but simply because you have been doing this on the public spaces, I think your audience, I think we also need to know, what did you realize or what did you come across that has made you withdraw now? Because you're not the first one to withdraw, so we can't even hold you to it. Berekete family, the ordinary president, Mr. Ahmad Issa, with all his capacity and his influence and his capability and his abilities, dropped down on this case. If a giant like Ahmad Issa, the ordinary president, can drop down, what more of you, my brother? We can expect anything. Mr. Ahmad Issa, if he wanted justice for baby testimony, there's nothing that could have prevented him. I know most of you have given me even much information to say, listen, no one can threaten. At first, we alleged that the ordinary president was threatened by Omoto for fame. But most of you said, no, it's impossible. No one can threaten Ahmad Issa. And some alleged that he was bribed. And most of you came out to say, no one can bribe Mr. Ordinary President. But still, we do not have a response from the ordinary president as to the reason why he dropped out from the case. But he dropped out eventually after he had progressed. Remember, the ordinary president is the one who presented this case to everyone before everyone knew about it. His platform was the one that was first used to raise awareness to this case of the missing child at Mercy City. But eventually he dropped out. And he gave a reason, I think. He said because of the inconsistency in Ruth Mathew's statements. And the inconsistencies were not quite noble for him to drop the case. And that is a big question that is still hanging on the shoulders of the ordinary president, for him to address us and let us know the actual reason why he dropped out from this case. His reasoning was not justified. Because at the end of the day, there's a baby missing. Baby testimony is missing. The facts were all established that a baby actually went missing at Mercy City. So for him to talk about Ruth Mathew's inconsistencies in her statements was not enough for us to conclude, to say, okay, now let's understand Mr. Ahmad Issa gave up or dropped out on this case because of this. So to my brother, that's not the first time. If Mr. Ordinary President can drop down and quit the pursuit for justice for baby testimony, your case is not any different from the same reaction that we got from Ahmad Issa. We also have, there are so many people, bloggers all over. We also have this other frustrated young lady. No, she's not a young lady. This frustrated woman, I think from UK, called Maureen. She also dropped out. And she gave her reasoning that Ruth Mathew is lying. She came up with so many allegations, with so many nonsensical assertions. Some of them, I thought they were, let me not say what I want to say, because it's going to be violent. I don't want violence, but I don't want peace either. I want problems always.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
So this blogger from UK called Maureen, she said a lot of nonsense. She's the one that almost destabilized this case and lied to people that Ruth Mathew is lying. She's the one that advocated this movement, that gave Jeremiah the confidence to say, the confusion that I've sent amongst the camp of the enemy is working.
Enemies, I have sent confusion among them. Confusion is taking place right now. Confusion. The Lord said he has started the confusion. God of Jeremiah said he has started the confusion.
She was the instrument that was used by Omoto. She is the one that manifested the prophecy that Jeremiah Omoto gave of confusion in the camp of the enemy. It came through her. No. Anyone that messed up this case, anyone that laid their hands, their filthy, dirty fingers on this case and tried anything funny with it, they will not go free. They'll have to face the consequences. The consequences. You can't do that in a case where there's a child that is missing. We're not talking about a scandal of a pastor or of whoever that slept with someone. We're talking about a baby that is missing. You put your emotions away when it comes to this case. And you deal with it with a sense of humanity. Forget about what anyone could have said, but the fact that a child is missing. You have to forget about your emotions and fight for justice. This is a call to fight for humanity. So we can't even pardon anyone. I don't care the respect you have for them. If they mishandled this case, to me, they are nothing. They don't mean nothing. They don't mean jack. Disappointed in all of them. Did not only end on this one from UK, it also even spilled over to this other one, this confused one, this one that is under the spell of TB Joshua, called, what's her name again? Bisola Foundation. No, it's Bisola Johnson or something like that. She came up with an entire document saying that I'm also dropping out on this Ruth Mathew case. Why? Because I found out that Ruth Mathew is a liar. Ruth Mathew is lying. The child is not missing. But for that one, I understand. I can pardon her. Because that one, she's still work in progress. There are still some elements, some mental disconnections and some spiritual things that are still, possessing her, that she actually needs deliverance. If we can get like some legit true servants of God that can pray for this one to be delivered from whatever that is tormenting her. Because the experience that Ruth Mathew went through in the hands, in custody of this woman, I have not brought them to light. I have not shared any information about that because it's not yet important. That's why she ended up getting a strong bite from Sister Ruth Mathew because she was, okay, it's not important. But the point that I'm just trying to make is she also dropped out. She wrote an entire statement, put it on her platform saying Ruth Mathew is lying. The child is not missing. And I felt so disgraced by her actions. And she did not give a proper reason why she dropped out. Not that we needed her. No, we didn't. Or not that we needed any of these people that dropped out. No, we don't. This case is in God's hands. Anyone that tampers with it will always pay the price. A very steep price. And personally, in my personal capacity, they don't deserve my respect. Not because they dropped out, but because of the way that they dropped out. There's nothing wrong with withdrawing from a case like this and walking away silently and peacefully. But when you now try to sell a narrative, to propagate a position, to articulate a position that can change people's perception concerning this case, it becomes obstruction of justice to me. We are fighting for baby testimonies justice, and you are coming here, you are spreading lies. Things that you do not have any foundational facts of. To say, no, these are lies, these are this. So that people can start thinking, so that Jeremiah's camp can now coming up with damage control strategies. Because all these strategies that Jeremiah Omoto started coming up with, they were all fueled by these people that came out and messed up this case. Now Jeremiah thought he had an opportunity to ride on that confusion that he had prophesied. And he did try to do all the forms of damage control, which eventually did not work. So people that drop out from a case like this, we understand. But we would expect them to be honorable enough to give us a reason, a noble reason, as to why they are dropping off. But those that come in lie to say this, and this, we shall not tolerate them. And we shall give it to them as they deserve it. And if you can do an inventory, if you can do an audit of the lives of people that dropped out from this case, trust me, there is some sort of a testimonial spirit that is interrupting their progress in life. Don't mess with testimony, people. Mess with anyone else, but testimony, leave him alone. Leave him out of your business. So that's the question that I was raising to the brothers that dropped out and this recent brother that dropped out. To say, what's your reason? Is it because you're realizing that we are getting to the bottom of this and your brother? I can understand. It's a natural instinct or inclination for anyone to defend their brother. Omoto is your brother. You can defend him. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. We can't even condemn you or we can't even blame you. Because me personally, I don't think you were paid. No, I don't. You just don't want to be the one that can expose that Omoto is behind this. And for that, we can make an exception for you. You can walk away. You can walk free. And no one will question you because no one has that right to question you in terms of that basis on those grounds. No one does. It was your effort, your time, your commitment, to bring justice for baby testimony. With that being said, let's get now into the details of the outcomes of the court, even though I will not divulge all the information and everything that transpired, in the court hearing. But what I can tell you now is we are getting where exactly we want to be. Remember, let me give you a background of the charges that were laid or that are being laid on Sister Ruth Mathew. There is actually a count of 10 charges. To those of you who are not aware of this, like I said, I'll not give you the finer details of everything, but these 10 charges, they are coming disguised under the Commissioner of Police, under the police department, not from Jeremiah Omoto for fame, but to you that can reason, that can think. We know where these charges are coming from. So why is the police commissioner laying charges on Ruth Mathew or taking Ruth Mathew to court? They are saying that you reported a case to us of a missing child, and we did an investigation, and we found out that the information, the allegations that you laid on this man called Omoto for Finn, they were lies. You assassinated, you defamed Jeremiah Omoto's character. So for that, we are prosecuting you. And this is all done under the influence of the Commissioner of Police. They are the ones that are laying charges on Sister Ruth Mathew. But we all know who's really behind it. We all know who they are representing. If you know, you know. But it's being done by the Commissioner of Police. So on the 10 charges that were laid against Sister Ruth Mathew, amongst the 10 charges, do you know the reason why they made them 10? So that when Sister Ruth Mathew comes across those charges, she'll think of a very long jail term, and she'll not even want to attempt going to court. But this has God in it. Even if the charges were 50, we are still going to fight this, and we are going to still fight this. Amongst the charges, 2 of the charges were coming from our first suspect, Emmanuel Marcus. But in court, people, I told you God is in this thing. It's one thing for them to do damage control on social media. And it's one thing when they are in that box to give a testimony, to tell their side of the story and lie under oath. In that box, you don't lie. You can't lie. Once you tell one lie, you are risking going to prison. And I'm proud of Emmanuel Marcus. You know why? He confessed that, indeed, the child went missing. So to those that have been peddling the lies that the child is not missing, what do you have to say now? Emmanuel Marcus said the child is missing, which is a contradiction to the statement that he had given prior when they did a video and Emmanuel Marcus was pointing at Ruth to say, Ruth, you are the one who knows where the child is. I won't go to the details of his full testimony, but the charge that Emmanuel Marcus had laid on Ruth, they have been dropped. They have been nullified, sliced and diced, thrown in the dustbin. And then we have Juliet was there. With everything that proceeded, with the cross-examinations that were done, it was realized that the charges that Juliet had laid on Sister Ruth Mathew of her saying that she's defaming a character for A, B, C, D, and E, they were all dismissed, thrown in the dustbin. For now, I want you to understand the process. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it's worth it. This time, we are still on the defensive. There are still charges coming from Omoto's side, from the Commissioner of Police. So we have to be patient until we dismiss all these charges that they've been laying on Sister Ruth Mathew. Because I told you, any charge that they can bring forth concerning this issue of the missing child, it does not hold any water. Jeremiah Omoto's team, they know that it does not hold any water. Remember, the foundation of their case or the foundation of their charges were based on Emmanuel Marcus's testimony. Confession that Sister Ruth Mathew did not come with a child to Mercy City. Juliet indeed confirmed that she came to the programs. She was there with her children. Emmanuel Marcus confirmed it that she was there with her children at Mercy City, this program. So these two were the foundation of their charges. So if the police are saying they did an investigation and they came to a conclusion that Ruth Mathew was lying, to a point whereby they had to take Ruth Mathew to court, now they have to prove the investigation that they did that exonerated Jeremiah Omoto or that convicted Sister Ruth Mathew or that made them believe that Ruth Mathew was lying. That's where it's going to get interesting. Because there is so much inconsistencies already with the statements that they made and the statements that they are making in court. Because the one thing that they were trading on, Jeremiah Omoto's people and the social media people, is the child is not missing. That's what they were peddling. Those are the lies that they were peddling on, that the child is not missing. I don't know the future of their defense or how far they will be willing to keep on bringing witnesses, but we have all the time. All we are waiting for is that time when we have to turn around the tables. Remember, we can't bring Juliet now to question. We can't bring Emmanuel Marcus. We can't bring Omoto to question now. Not because we can't, but we just want them to be done, to exhaust everything within their arsenal. For them to do everything that they can. And when they say we are done, then the tables turn. And then we start getting to the bottom of this. So it's patience, people. Dead or alive, we want baby testimony. We don't care. If they know where they buried him, if he's no longer alive, we need to go and see that grave. Exhumane him. Go do all processes, test that needs to be done that can verify that it's him. If he's not, we will find him. This sounds too far-fetched, but trust me, mark my words. We will find baby testimony. Be it this year, the year to come, 5 years later, we will find baby testimony. And whoever has to go down in the process, they'll go down. So that's just the brief update about the court proceedings. And I'll bring you the final details as time goes on so that you can all stay geared up. And you know, we are going to be victorious at the end of the day. And our victory will only come when we get baby testimony. Like I promised you, we'll get to the bottom of this. A child is missing. There's no damage control that can ever work against those bases of a child that is missing, that went missing at Mercy City. So, with that being said, let me catch you out on the next episode of the Enlightenment series. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger. I'm out.